Hello again, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I love sharing the things that I learn with others. Today I'm sharing with you a card that I actually cased the idea, the layout, from a card that's found on page 72 of our January to June, mini catalog. It's the one that's right here. I've been wanting to use these Stitched with Whimsy dies, and so this was the perfect chance. So I've got them here. I have already run them through. What you will notice with these dies, you need for the large ones, which is what I'm using, you need the big, the full-sized Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But when you run it through, you're going to note that it leaves a stitching, but it doesn't cut anything out. So what I'm using for this card is a half a sheet of our crumb cake cardstock, a quarter sheet of basic white cardstock for the inside greeting, a small piece that's been cut using the second to the largest circle from our Layering Circles dies, and then the second to the largest scallop circle from our Blushing Bride cardstock. And I'm using the new Hey Birthday Chick stamp set. It is also found in our January to June mini catalog, but from the 2nd of February through June, you can purchase it as a bundle with coordinating dies. They are available for a bundle price of only $43, which during celebration, which runs through February, if you add just $7 more, which isn't too hard, you can then also get a celebration item for free. So anyway, I'm using this stamp set. And so you also need a scrap piece of our Bermuda Bay cardstock. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece. I need the birthday die from this, and I have mine stored differently. It doesn't come attached in this way. I have separate storage that I use, just so that you're aware of that. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you place an order, any order receives a thank you note from me. You can use this host code here. My website, justalittlink.stampinup.net. And just a reminder that if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would love for you to do so. You just subscribe on the lower right, and if you click the little bell, you'll get notifications anytime I do videos. So I'm going to lay my scrap piece in here. I'm going to put my happy birthday die in here, and because I'm not as worried about where it shifts, I'm not going to secure it. You could if you're worried about it moving outside of that space. I'm going to roll it through this mini die cutting machine. Our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine just works so well underneath the camera. So I'm going to push this way, but the large one works in the same way. Okay, so I'm going to take my die and get out of the way, get my pieces out of the way, and pop this out. And I've got all kinds of other little things that just pop out real easy. If I wanted, I could run it through with some of our adhesive. I'm not too worried. It's not that big a piece. So, do a simple way. So I have already stitched with the Whimsy dies, and I've already scored it, so I'm just going to fold it in half. Use my bone folder, gives a nice crisp fold. I can set that out of the way. Then I've got my circle And I'm going to pull out my Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I have my little chick that's eating some of this birthday cupcake. Ink him up. You need to use Memento ink if you are using our Stampin' Blends, which is what I'm going to use to color in my birthday chick here. So I've got my chick. Get my stamp out of the way. Well, while I've got it out, actually, let's go ahead and stamp my greeting for the inside. So what I did for my inside greeting is I took this cute little dancing chick. I stuck him kind of off-centered a little bit. And then I'm taking the Let's Celebrate You. Comes in the same stamp set. I stamp it next to my chick. And then I have everything stamped so then I can start coloring. So with that, I'm going to pull out my Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to color in. I'm using the dark. They come in 2 markers, one light and one dark. The beauty of our Stampin' Blends is you can blend, which I'll do a little bit of blending with the other chick, or the chicken. With this little chick, I'm not blending, I'm just coloring in. So I'm going to hold this one out because I will need it. I need a light color of my pumpkin pie. So just a little bit of contrast for my chick. But the beauty is you can blend, or you can just, what I refer to as color book coloring. And then I'm using the Flirty Flamingo. We don't have a Stampin' Blend for Blushing Bride, and so the light of Flirty Flamingo works out really well. And then I'm going to pull out the light color of Bermuda Bay. Color in here a little bit here, and then I can set him aside because that is done. So then I'm going to start coloring my funky chick. And so my funky chick, I used Bermuda Bay to color the head feathers and the tail feathers. And again, I'm kind of doing what I refer to as color book coloring with the blends. I find coloring to be therapeutic. A lot of people don't, and you certainly could choose to do a lot simpler coloring in of something if you didn't want to use the blends. And I love the fact that the blends don't leave lines, so it's easy to get a nice professional look. So then I took the feathers all the way down to about the base of his body, kind of how I did that. And then I'm going to come in with here, and so this is what I'm referring to that I sort of blended, because I'm going to come in along the edge. Up here, I'm going to come around his wing here and around the edge, and then I'm going to come and put a little of the darker up in this where I know his head is. Okay. And then I'm going to pull out the light Daffodil Delight. Like I said, they come in a pair, so you're going to get both of them. And so this is where I'd be then blending. So I'm going to take my and they come with 2 tips. So this is a bullet tip. On the other end is a brush tip. And if you're coloring a big space like I am, it'll go a lot faster if you bring in the brush tip. I'm going to kind of I'm going to drag this dark color in. You can start with the dark and then go to the light, or you can do like I did and start with the dark and then blend it with the light. So then I'm going to pull back out my pumpkin pie. I want to color his feet. Looks like I overdid a little, which isn't a bad thing because then I can show you, or color pusher. What I refer to color pusher, it's a color lifter. So color lifter, it can be bought separately. It pushes the color. It's basically alcohol in a tip, but it'll push that color back. So that's why I refer to it as a pusher. Pull it here. And I noticed I have a little I bled over here. You can keep doing that until it's pushed in as much as you need. I had decided I wanted my cupcake to be frosted with the pink frosting. So I'm going to just bring my light flirty flamingo. I want a Bermuda Bay candle. Oh, and I want some frosting that's tucked along here. Won't see a lot of it. Let's see, I need my candle, my flame. And then I want a chocolate cupcake. So I'm using the light of our soft suede. And then because I don't like anything to look like it's kind of floating up in the sky, and to me that's kind of what he looks like, I'm going to pull out my crumb cake because again that's my base here. And I'm going to come in and I just want to kind of decide about where he'd be standing, or she, whichever sex of bird you want to call this. And I'm going to come around just to kind of ground my cupcake. I don't want it floating. I'm going to come in here. Again, you could do more blending if that was something you wanted to do. You certainly don't have to. And I think he looks pretty good. So to put him together goes really fast. I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Seal. Do a few runs of Stampin' Seal. Line it up. That's what the layering circles are about. I'm going to pull out some Stampin' Dimensionals. So I want to lift it up a little bit. So I just need a few of them on the back here. Okay. And then I can stick him like I saw on the other card. Came up about like so. Make sure it's not crooked. And then I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid adhesive, liquid glue, and I'm just going to dot. It's a small piece, since I just want to dot some glue along the back of it. I could use some of our adhesive sheets, and then I would have ran it through, and it would have already had adhesive on it. For a tiny piece, I find this is easier. So I'm going to put my happy birthday in the upper section. And then I need some embellishments, and the embellishments I'm choosing to use are our resin hearts embellishments. They're in our January to June mini catalog, and I know that they have been at least threatened to be on back order. They may or may not be. I honestly did not check. So I'm going to stick one heart down here, push it where I want it to be. I'm going to grab another one and stick it here. So I want odd numbers. I don't like doing in even numbers. So that's 3. I'm going to stick one more up here. And I think to keep it odd, you know, why not? I'm going to turn my one here over, and I want to make sure, yeah, there we go, that I get a second heart down here, like so. And like that, I've got, I just need to take my inside, stick it on there. And I have a fairly quick card, something I got an idea out of. Again, a different catalog, a different idea. You can take, casing can be done with using exactly what's there or changing colors, or like I did, changing the stamp set altogether. I took another card, same kind of layout, but totally different. I used a different background stamp, and I used the other stamp that's available. So you might recognize this check here. This was a stamp set that was a celebration item in 2017, and Stampin' Up! Brought it back. It was so popular that it's available as a bundle again or individually. The Hey Chick bundle, you can get it and its coordinating dies for $44. And again, that is through June of this year. And kind of just a fun, different way. Same layout, different look. So thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again. Have a wonderful week.